Headlines. The Sultanate of Oman is following with deep concern the development of the US-UK bombing of Yemeni cities and warns of expanding the circle of conflict due to the continuous Israeli aggression. The Israeli aggression on Gaza continues, claiming over 23,500 martyrs. And South Africa calls upon the International Court of Justice for the immediate halt of the Israeli operations in the Gaza Strip during its first session. Those were the headlines. Now for the news in detail. The Foreign Ministry issued a statement as follows. The Sultanate of Oman expressed its deep concern about the developments in the American-British bombing that affected several cities in the Republic of Yemen and its condemnation of the resort to the military action by friendly countries, while Israel persists in its bombing, brutal war, and siege of the Gaza Strip without accountability or punishment. The Sultanate of Oman confirmed that it has repeatedly warned of the expansion of the circle of conflict and confrontation in the region as a result of the ongoing Israeli aggression against the occupied Palestinian territories, especially the killing, abuse, destruction, and starvation operations against civilians and residents in the Gaza Strip. The Sultanate of Oman renewed its position, calling for just and comprehensive peace in order to achieve security and stability in the region and revive growth and prosperity for all, calling on all parties to stop the escalation in military operations and focus on addressing the root and real causes of the crisis. His Excellency Sayyid Badr bin Hamad al-Busaidi, Foreign Minister, and His Excellency Dr. Fuad Hussein, Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister of the Republic of Iraq, stressed during a phone call on the importance of self-restraint not to expand the circle of conflict in the region and resolving its root cause, starting from stopping the Israeli aggression and blockade on the Gaza Strip. The two parties also discussed the alarming updates and dangerous escalations in the Red Sea and Yemen region. Airstrikes led by the United States and Britain overnight in Yemen left 5 Houthis fighter dead and 6 others injured, vowing retaliation, which also fueled fears of a major regional escalation. The U.S. military said that more than 60 targets at 16 military sites were attacked. These include command and control points, ammunition depots, missile launch sites, production facilities, and air defense radar systems, according to a U.S. Air Force statement. The development is fueling fears that the numerous tensions and violent clashes in the region could escalate into a major conflict in the Middle East. Meanwhile, Russia also condemned the strikes today and requested a special session of the UN Security Council in New York. China has called on all sides to exercise restraint following a string of military strikes led by the United States and the United Kingdom in Yemen. China hopes that all parties concerned will play a constructive and responsible role in maintaining regional security and stability in the Red Sea. The Kremlin today also condemned what it said were illegitimate strikes by the United States and Britain in Yemen. Moscow has railed against what it sees as Western intervention in the Middle East. Russia's foreign ministry spokeswoman earlier called the attacks a total violation of international law aimed at an escalation in the region. The Israeli aggression on Gaza continues, claiming over 23,500 martyrs. Israel's latest attacks on Gaza has killed at least 151 people, including 11 in a single house, while the UN Humanitarian Office accused Israel of blocking its efforts to send aid to the north. Residents reported continued aerial and ground fire across the territory from Israel, which has come under growing pressure to limit the number of civilian casualties from its war. Israel said it could not comment without more specifics. It said earlier that its forces had killed dozens of fighters in nearby Maghazi and in the southern city of Khan Yunis. The UN Humanitarian Office said Israeli authorities were blocking its efforts to help people who had stayed in the north of fear that militants would seize supplies. The head of the office for the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs in the occupied Palestinian territories said that they have systematic refusal from the Israeli side of their efforts to get there. Aid officials say Gazans are on the verge of starvation and suffering from diseases brought on by a lack of fresh water and sanitation due to widespread bombing. The International Court of Justice opened today the second day of hearings in a case in which South Africa is demanding an immediate halt of Israel's military campaign in Gaza, where it says Israel is committing genocide against Palestinians. The UN's top court will hear Israel's response to the accusations brought by South Africa. It is expected that the rule on the emergency measures demanded later this month. Russian capital is blasted with snowstorm and strong winds. People in Moscow were seen making their way through the snow and heavy equipment cleaning the streets. Meteorologists said that they expect up to 10% of monthly precipitation with temperatures around -12°C. Experts also say that snow is expected to weaken, but icy conditions on road and traffic jams are possible. In an industrial town of Elektrostal, which is located 40 kilometers away from Moscow, several residents suffer from heating outages due to malfunctioning of radiators. Moscow and the surrounding region have suffered an unusually harsh winter. The temperature in Elektrostal was -11°C on Wednesday, mild by the standard of recent weeks. Still to come in our news bulletin. Governorate of Musandam attracted 76,000 foreign tourists in 2023. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. Oman oil price reached $79.18 per barrel. Oman oil price rose by $2.82. The average price of Oman oil January 2024 delivery reached $83.17 per barrel, thus $6.62 lower than the price of December 2023 delivery. The second Suhar Festival started amid various cultural and entertainment activities focusing on highlighting the rich heritage of the Governorate of North Batna. The event was presided over by His Excellency Salim bin Mohammed Al Mahrouqi, Minister of Heritage and Tourism. The cultural festivals in the Sultanate seek to promote internal tourism and encourage small and medium enterprises by promoting their crafts and products. Around 200 young Omanis, 160 productive families, and 24 craftsmen from across the country participated in the festival to accommodate the festival needs, promote the local products, and give the Omani youth experience in organizing cultural events. With participation of 250 local and Arab films, the Sharqiya's second international cinematic festival was launched in the Wilaya of Sur. Film script writers from actors from Arab countries took part in the inauguration ceremony, which was held in shipmaking area, a place where traditional ships are made. The local reflect the traditional positions of Wilaya of Sur as a traditional naval city. It is worth mentioning that the Wilaya of Sur was chosen as an Arab tourism capital for year 2024. During the festival, the participating films will be evaluated and a number of workshops and sideline activities will be conducted. Tourists from various world countries flock to the governorate of Musandam annually, where the number of tourists this year exceeded 76,000 tourists arriving on big ferries at Khasab port. More than 52 ferries reach the port carrying tourists to enjoy beauty and splendor and various activities in the governorate of Musandam. Upon arrival, tourists can enjoy their time going on sea tours, watch dolphins, staying at the beach, or visiting traditional areas, including Khasab Fort. Tourism organizers and officials stated that the number of tourists are growing every year and hope more facilities and activities are established in the future. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. The Sultanate of Oman is following with deep concern the development of the US-UK bombing of Yemeni cities and warns of expanding the circle of conflict due to the continuous Israeli aggression. The Israeli aggression on Gaza continues, claiming over 23,500 martyrs. And South Africa calls upon the International Court of Justice for the immediate halt of the Israeli operations in Gaza Strip during its first session. With that, we come to the end of tonight's bulletin. From all of us here at the newsroom and the studios, it's a good night and have an incredible long weekend.